Good afternoon, everybody. Alex StarCraft here. Very excited to be bringing you guys another StarCraft 2 commentary on a beautiful late January day in the mountains in Virginia, which is kind of weird, but it is like 60 degrees outside, and you guys can see how I'm celebrating it. I'm celebrating it by sitting in my room with the lights off, casting StarCraft 2, and I even have the window closed because there is for some reason a bulldozer not very far outside, and it's really loud. And I know that you guys would not quite be able to hear the cast if I was to leave that window open. Now, first thing I want to say is all of a sudden, just earlier today, like half an hour ago, I decided to check my YouTube channel just to wonder, see how my channel was doing, how many how many views I'd gotten, how many subscribers I had, stuff like that. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, previously my total video views was at 400. Now it's very close to breaking 1,000. My Mao's Hasuab's MMA game actually got about 450 views by itself, and I'm up to 17 subscribers from, I believe, 6, and I am so excited about that. I am so grateful to all of you guys that have been watching my video, all of you new subscribers, and all of you that commented. Now, some of it was nice comments, some of it was a little bit of hate. The one guy was saying that it's already being done better by people like Husky, Day 9, they have access to the replays, and he was like, stop now, because you're not going to be able to do it as well, it's already been done. And I really, honestly, don't care that much. I don't care about getting any kind of fame. I don't care about being able to get huge number of viewers or the best super high-level Korean replays. I just am doing this because I love to do it. I wanted to cast. That is why I started to do it. Another person was very nice. He said he liked most of the cast, except not so much my voice. Sorry about that. I can't quite change it. I will do my best to make the cast at least somewhat pleasant, despite the not liking my voice. But enough talk about me. Let's get back to why we are all here, which is this StarCraft 2. And this game is going to be between Naniwa. I'm not actually sure which team he's on right now, but Naniwa, the purple Protoss on the bottom, in the bottom of the map, and everyone's favorite special tactics player, WhiteRa, the red Protoss in the top on the map of Shatter Temple. Now, obviously, you can see the game is already a fair amount underway. They're still scouting each other out and everything. Actually, WhiteRa has yet to find Naniwa, but Naniwa has seen the entire opening. And the openings did look very similar. They still do look similar. Both of them, you can see both of their warp gates are equal. Now, the difference is, I guess, what Naniwa is doing. Naniwa does have a second gate on the way, while WhiteRa does not, as well as a slightly earlier gas and a few less probes. Now, WhiteRa is scouting everything out. I'm sure he can tell maybe what his different build indicates. I cannot really tell you because I do not play Protoss, so I do not very often play Protoss versus Protoss, except against my friend who does play when we play random, and then it's just really not fair. I can identify a 4-gate, that's about it, but now I know what WhiteRa is doing because he's throwing down a robotics bay. So what this seems to be is it's pretty standard. It's actually, I guess, a 2-gate Twilight Council opening. I would assume it would be some kind of Blinkstalker play, just like a 2-gate Blinkstalker probably with an expand, versus WhiteRa doing the 2-gate robo play. And now these are really, these days, from what I understand, there's a few different choices in Protoss versus Protoss. There's, of course, the thing that no one actually really likes doing in Protoss versus Protoss, which is the 4-gate. And then we have the Blinkstalker openings and plays, and we have robo plays. There are some Stargate, but it looks like Naniwa is going to be trying to do a little bit of pressure here. He actually has two, pylons sitting right outside the base. He is forced to cancel one, but one does get built. And even though he does not have sight of the high ground, his kind of just shots being rained down upon him, he does have more stalkers. He has the more gateways up and running. You see WhiteRa still has one finishing. There's the blink starting. And Naniwa has more stalkers. So it looks like he's just going to try and overwhelm. Some very good micro coming down from WhiteRa. He's actually sniping the weak stalkers from Naniwa. Looks like Naniwa is going to be able to force the cancel on this pylon. Yes, he does cancel the pylon right there at the last second. That's very good for WhiteRa. But the Immortal is almost done, and really this is just kind of put an end to this whole push, because Immortals do so much damage versus Stalker. They do 50 damage a shot, so they can kill a Stalker in 3.2 hits. Now, of course, with the Stalker shooting as well, it would be more like 2 or 3 hits. But so they all, this Immortal, as I said, it does kind of shut down the push. And we do have the Blink on the way from Naniwa, while we have WhiteRa just kind of pushing out the Immortals. And I would not be surprised to see either of these players expand soon. We can see they both are kind of wary, but it does look like WhiteRa is gearing up for an expansion. And based off the amount of money he has, I would assume Naniwa might be too, unless he's getting ready for a pretty big warp in. I guess yes, he did just do a pretty big warp in. His warp gates were just finishing the cooldown. Looks like he actually has a pylon over here, so he's going to be warping into the center, getting some map control. So this could actually be a bit dangerous for WhiteRa. Granted, he does have the sentries, so he can hold his ramp. But what he really needs to do, he needs to try and hold this expansion, and force fields are not the best versus Blink Stalkers if there isn't a high ground. But of course, these 2 Immortals, again, they just do so much damage, and yeah, there it is. Naniwa is also expanding as well. As I predicted, because I am a Protoss guru, as I was talking about earlier. And again, it looks like we do have a little bit of action going on here. I'm not sure what just happened there, but just kind of like a dance back and forth. But you see those 2 Immortals killing that Stalker in about 5 seconds. So that was not too great. And it looks like Naniwa is going to be engaging a little bit. But this is the beauty of what you have with the Blink Stalkers. Of course, with the Immortals you have power. With the Stalkers you just have you have that mobility that is actually, I think it's a beautiful thing to watch a Protoss player in a PvP using his Blink Stalkers, because they have some excellent control. Most Protoss players do, and it's something I love watching. When you look at someone like Huck, Naniwa, MC, you look at their force fields, their Blink Stalkers, and it is just fun to watch. Now, WhiteRa's expansion is up. It is finished. He's transferring over some probes. I would be surprised to see him maybe throwing down these gases soon, but for now we see he's macroing very well. He actually has about equal gas and minerals, and he's been producing more or less non-stop Immortals out of there. And again, we have the little blink in from Naniwa. WhiteRa does have the observer there, so he knows exactly what's going to happen. And if Naniwa does bring in an observer to try and blink up to the high ground or anything, WhiteRa's observer will be able to see that. So that'll definitely help WhiteRa out. He won't have to worry about that. Now we have the transfer also coming out from Naniwa. Same as WhiteRa, about 5 or 6 probes. He's going to be making a pylon once he gets there. We see WhiteRa has actually gotten quite the supply lead. I would assume that's just because the Immortals there, I actually don't know how much supply an Immortal is. Is 4 supply, yeah, so that would definitely be the reason for it. Because these, 5, what does he have, 4 Immortals? So that counts for 16 supply, which would be a huge bit of the differential. I would say WhiteRa is probably a little bit ahead on economy. Let's take a look. Yes, he is a little bit ahead on probes. Not by too much, but that would make a difference. And wow, we see WhiteRa actually trying to get a bit of a flank there. Naniwa has to be very careful. And it looks like he actually is going to fall for the flank, because WhiteRa's Immortals are going to be able to intercept this, and this Naniwa gets okay, he does manage to blink away. We do have the force field coming down from WhiteRa trying to trap it. Now this is going to be a very crucial battle on this. We see Naniwa has a lot of sentries, so if he can segment back the Immortals or anything, that is going to be very good. So he does split the army in half. So this positioning right now is very good for Naniwa, but we see Naniwa actually pulling probes because there are so many Immortals, actually getting some very good force fields down, stopping those Immortals. So it looks like Naniwa is going to be able to hold this without too much of a problem. He's going to lose a fair amount, but he has 2 Immortals and a few more Stalkers. WhiteRa is just trying to pick off as many Stalkers as he can before he dies. And so that battle definitely went in Naniwa's favor. We can see he's about 800 resources ahead in the resources loss. That is to say, he's lost less resources, but he's also kind of sacrificed the economy a bit. He lost probably a good amount of probes. Is this the key? Yes, he lost 10 probes in that attack. So now he has to try and do a little bit of damage. So he's actually doing a good job with a little bit of blink micro, waiting for the rest of his army to get there. Those slower Immortals, and as I said, it's kind of a sacrifice you make with the Immortals in your army. They're not quite as quick as all the Blink Stalkers. So we do have WhiteRa throwing down a whole bunch of extra gateways. So if he can hold off until these gateways complete, he might be in good shape, because he will have a big warp-in advantage. There's some good force fields coming down from it as well. But looks like he's going to be trying to kill probes. He picks off about 3 right there. He's just kind of keeping WhiteRa boxed into a corner, picks off a pylon, and this does not look good for WhiteRa. He seems like he just does not have as many units as Naniwa does. You can see, even though he's a little bit ahead on supply, it's mostly because of the probes, not the units. So Naniwa, he's just pushing and pushing. He's reinforcing with more Blink Stalkers. You can see them on the mini-map. He's picking off that Immortal before it can rally. It looks like he's going to get this one as well. And I just don't think WhiteRa has enough to be able to hold this. You see he's microing as much as he can, but Naniwa with the offensive blink completely surrounding those stalkers. There's not too much more they can do. And there's the GG well played from WhiteRa. WhiteRa, again, one of the most mannered players you will ever meet. Also one of the better ones. But as I also said, Naniwa is a very, very good Protoss player. So that was a very interesting PvP right there. I think I did an okay job understanding what was going on. Both players went about the same composition, pretty similar builds. It was just one opened Stalker transition to Robo, the other opened Robo kind of transition to Stalker a bit at the end. And I think, yeah, right there, it just really came down to this engagement down here where Naniwa, he managed to kill off WhiteRa's army. Wow. And even though he didn't have as much of an economy, WhiteRa's natural wasn't ever able to kick in quite enough for him to get ahead. So I hope you guys all enjoyed that game, and I'll be bringing you guys a whole bunch more in the next hour or two, actually. So I hope you all enjoy, and I will see you guys very soon. Have a wonderful next few minutes.